Okay, so if you're a leader, you've probably been there. You've designed the bonus structures, you've rolled out the incentive plans, and then you've watched a seemingly perfect plan just fail to inspire anyone. It's a super common frustration, and today we're going to dive into the hidden psychology behind why that happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
So let's talk about why our usual ways of motivating people, well, why they so often miss the mark. See, we tend to assume that people are these purely logical calculators, right? Always acting in their own best financial interest. But the truth is, human behavior is so much more complex. And that's exactly where our best laid plans can fall apart.
I mean, this has happened to almost everyone, right? You roll out a slick new commission structure, and instead of this big surge in productivity, you get confusion, or maybe even some resentment. On paper, the logic looks perfect, but in reality, something's just off. That crucial human element is clearly missing. To really solve this puzzle, we need to look at it through a completely different lens, and that lens is behavioral economics. And look, this isn't just some boring textbook theory. It's an incredibly powerful, practical tool for understanding what truly drives the people you lead every single day.
All right, so what exactly is it? Well, at its core, behavioral economics is built on one simple, powerful truth. We are not robots. Our decisions, yeah, even about work and money, are deeply influenced by all these hidden psychological forces. It's the science of how people actually behave, not just how our spreadsheets say they should behave.
And this right here, this really shows you the big shift in thinking. The old school traditional view sees your team members as just calculators, always trying to maximize their financial gain. But the behavioral view sees them as human, influenced by emotions, their social environment, and all these little mental shortcuts. And understanding that difference, that's where the real opportunity for leadership begins. Okay, so if it's not just about pure logic, what are these hidden psychological factors? Well, it turns out there are three key drivers that are constantly running in the background work. And getting a handle on these is the first step to becoming a much more effective leader.
First on the list, biases. Now, you can think of these as your brain's little shortcuts. They help us make decisions fast, which is great, but they aren't always accurate. For example, something called confirmation bias might make a manager say only see the things that confirm what they already think about an employee and totally ignore anything that goes against it. These shortcuts are running in the background for everyone on your team. Number two is the incentives themselves. And here's the kicker. It's not just about the size of the bonus. It's about the psychology of how it's presented. Sometimes, a small, unexpected reward can be way more motivating than a larger, expected one. The framing matters a lot. Is it a reward for doing great work, or is it a penalty for not meeting a goal? The impact is completely different.
And finally, we have what might be the most powerful driver of them all, how fair things feel. This one is super emotional. If people feel a process or an outcome is unfair, it can crush their motivation faster than almost anything else, even if the actual financial outcome is pretty good for them. A sense of fairness in the system is absolutely non-negotiable for engagement.
So understanding the theory of biases, incentives, and fairness is great. But what do we actually do with it? Let's translate all this knowledge into a practical leadership toolkit you can start using, well, today.
Now, the big idea here isn't about trying to manipulate people, not at all. It's about designing a workplace that actually works with our natural human tendencies, instead of constantly fighting against them. By understanding these psychological drivers, you can start to build an environment where people are just naturally engaged and motivated. So how do we actually do it? How do we design for human nature? Let's break down three really actionable strategies you can implement right away. First up, design your environments. For example, just making the most collaborative software the default on company computers can give teamwork a nice little nudge. Second, shape your policies. Instead of one massive annual bonus, maybe you could try smaller, more frequent rewards to keep motivation high all year. And third, craft your communication. When you're announcing a change, frame it around what the team stands to gain, not what they might lose. Remember, how you say it matters just as much as what you say.
Okay, as we start to wrap this up, let's bring it all home. If you take just one thing away from all this, it should be a brand new perspective on what truly motivates the people you lead. It's really less about the spreadsheet and so much more about the psychology.
So here it is, the crucial takeaway. Stop expecting your team to be perfectly rational. Instead, embrace their human nature, their biases and their deep-seated need for fairness,
Those aren't flaws to be ignored. They are incredibly powerful levers. And when you design your environment, your policies, and your communication to work with those levers, you're not just creating a happier team, you're building a more engaged and a much more productive one.
So I'll leave you with this question. This doesn't have to be some massive overhaul of your entire company plan. Could it be as simple as reframing how you present a goal, or maybe making a process feel just a little more transparent and fair? Think about that one small shift. Thanks for joining me for this one.